So, when I decided to talk about the song of the grassroot hermitage, it was kind of an afterthought because, of course, as you know, the Sandokai is so much better known than the song of the grassroot hermitage, and it was an afterthought, and I thought, well, we'll look at this. This is simple and straightforward and easy to understand, and maybe we'll just talk about it for one session. And now I'm finding that, in fact, as this next part points out, the whole world is here in this poem. So, and I'm really enjoying the commentaries by Ben Connolly, who wrote a little book about this poem. So we're going to just, so Patty is going to do a screen share, so you'll be able to see it. And we're just going to continue to go line by line. And so we're on actually this is in couplets. And so we've done the first 3 couplets, and we're going to do, I think, approximately the next 3. So we're going to take a really, plenty of time to look more deeply into this poem. And I think it's fun. It's a little different than usual Dharma talks and Dharma study to really pay attention to one rather unknown piece of our heritage. So we're on we're starting with the line that says, "Places worldly people live, he doesn't live." So why don't we, just to remind ourselves about this poem, let's read it, the whole thing together again. So I will announce it, and then we'll read it together. Does everybody have a copy? Do you all have a copy? Okay. So, Song of the Grass Roof Hermitage. I built a grass hut where there's nothing of value. After eating, I relax and enjoy a nap. When it was completed, fresh weeds appeared. Now it's been lived in, covered by weeds. The person in the hut lives here calmly, not stuck to inside, outside, or in between. Places worldly people live, he doesn't live. Realms worldly people love, he doesn't love. Though the hut is small, it includes the entire world. In 10 square feet, an old man illumines forms and their nature. The Mahayana Bodhisattva trusts without doubt. The middling and lowly can't help wondering, will this hut perish or not? Perishable or not, the original master is present, not dwelling south or north, east or west. Firmly based on steadiness, it can't be surpassed. A shining window below the green pines, jade palaces or vermilion towers can't compare with it. Just sitting with head covered, all things are best. Thus, this mountain monk doesn't understand at all. Living here, he no longer works to get free. Who would proudly arrange seats trying to entice guests? Turn around the light to shine within, then just return. The vast, inconceivable source can't be faced or turned away from. Meet the ancestral teachers, be familiar with their instruction. Mind grasses to build a hut and don't give up. Let go of hundreds of years and relax completely. Open your hands and walk innocent. Thousands of words, myriad interpretations, are only to free you from obstructions. If you want to know the undying person in the hut, don't separate from this skin bag here and now. Every time, as in many things, every time I read this, I hear more. So let's start with the line, places worldly people live, he doesn't live. And he's already established the metaphor of the grass hut, both for where he lives and who he is. That he's like a grass hut in which there's nothing of value. So in the place starting, places worldly people live, he doesn't live. clearly this is a reference to the traditional home leaving of the example of the Buddha. But the author, she too, has gone even further. He has left his monastic home, or perhaps because monasteries had become places of status and prestige with complex politics and so forth. And his preoccupations of the that we have in the world, he has left behind him. And so, but we are not leaving home. And in a way, he's not leaving home. He's not leaving his grass hut, and he's not abandoning his body yet. And and here's a quote from Connolly: "There's so much suffering, competition, and conflict in the world. Just to be at peace for a little while is an incredible example for us." It's what we try to do in our daily meditation and our Sunday programs and in our retreats, to step away, to return to the breath, to learn to step away. That's Dogen's backward step, in every moment. So he is saying he doesn't live in the space of preoccupation. He has the ability to take the backward step into awareness, always, to step away into calm abiding, into awareness, which is our practice. And then Connolly says, the present moment is not a place of worldly concern if we are really there. Wherever we are with presence, okay, I can't read my writing. Whenever we are there with presence of mind, we can let go of or be free from worldly matters: pride, desire, anger, the need to control others. So going on to the next line: realms worldly people love, he doesn't love. And Connolly goes into a discussion of the word love. And in this case, he says that she too means attachment, wanting, desire, having an idea of how things should be and being stuck on it. And that's it's not the kind of love that is non-attached love. She too has unstuck himself from worldly attachments, both outside and inside, and is free. And Connolly goes on, when we sit in meditation, we let the mind that picks and chooses have a little rest. We see the realms of our little worldly, we see the realms that our little worldly personages love, that we love actually, and we let them go, at least for a little while, loving without clinging. Going on to the next line, though the hut is small, it includes the entire world. So this is again both the physical hut, the grass hut, and Chitu himself. Since everything is interconnected, everything is present even in a little hut. In every moment, every circumstance, we have everything. Everything we need, and therefore fine buildings and clothes and cars are not necessary for our lives to be complete. Going on to the next line, in 10 feet square, an old man illumines form and their nature. Is that what it is? When I get down to the bottom of the page, my writing gets really kind of squirrely. Yeah, an old man illumines forms and their nature. In other words, you don't need much to see deeply into things. And Connolly says, Dogen teaches, here is the place, here the way unfolds. It doesn't matter where here is, what matters is that we take the opportunity to practice where we are. So in this small, impermanent little hut, an old man practices where he is. Going on, Connolly says, when we draw the gaze inward, we actually have a chance to see through our habits of body and mind and see what is here right now in our little corner of the world, which is always vast and amazing. Sometimes I've told lots of people this, but I'll mention it again. Sometimes I do a gratitude practice of where I am. And so I might be lying in bed and I thank my pajamas, then my pillow, its case. I thank my mattress, its sheet, my duvet and its cover, my bed and all of its components. Sometimes I choose one of these things and go deeper. The pillowcase made of cotton, and I thank the cotton grown in the dirt of the Central Valley, and I thank the dirt. I thank the sun, the air. I thank the water, the farmers, the workers who pick the cotton. You get the picture. Whatever path you take is completely connected to everything else. And everything is here all the time, infinitely. So you can sometimes, we have this, we can consider this as a philosophical idea. But when you do a gratitude practice like that, and step from one thing to the next that is connected, suddenly you can see and feel the connection in your body and know that the world is always vast and amazing, even when you're lying in your bed. He goes on to say, this is the next line, a great vehicle Bodhisattva trusts without doubt. And this is about his vow, that he's taken the Bodhisattva vows of the Mahayana way, the great vehicle way, and he's completely at ease with things as it is, as Suzuki Roshi said, with a heart that is devoted to the way of liberation of suffering. The Mahayana literally means great vehicle. I'm sure you all remember this from studying the Lotus Sutra, and it's a reference to the story in the Lotus Sutra where the loving father rescues his children from a burning house in a large carriage, a great vehicle of relief from all the suffering in the world that has room for everyone. And a bodhisattva is one whose life is devoted to the relief of suffering. And we vow to live this way when we take the bodhisattva vows, and we trust in the wisdom and compassion of awareness that we cultivate in meditation to show us the way. And again, this is not a philosophical point. This is a point of what it is to experience the refuge of the vow, of the bodhisattva vow to be free and to bring that freedom to everyone. Then he goes on to this next section that says, the middling or lowly can't help wondering. And just as we got caught on that line, the similar line in the Savatkai, I always feel like, well, is he talking about me, the middling and lowly, or am I looking down on the middling and lowly? And it seems very kind of classist. But Connolly, in that sense, sharply rejects it. And in Dogen's he quotes Dogen's universal recommendation for Zazen, who says, make no distinction between the dull and the sharp-witted. If you concentrate your effort single-mindedly, that in itself is wholeheartedly engaging in the way. And I think really fundamentally, this is really not about some sort of discrimination, but just to say that there are different types of people, and that's all. And in fact, just sometimes we're middling, sometimes we're dull, and sometimes we kind of get it. So this is about, don't worry, whoever you are and wherever you are, you can you can follow the way. You can wholeheartedly engage the way in this practice. And in fact, for each of us, our unique suffering leads us to the way, if we're lucky, in our own time and in our own way. You may remember a reference that Suzuki Roshi teaches this, and also this comes directly from the Buddha, who told a story about horses and the whip, and he said some horses start to run when there's the mere shadow of the whip. Some start just before the whip hits the skin. Some start when they feel the pain of the first strike of the whip, and some when the pain is very deep. No horse is better than another, just different. And what this means is that inevitably it is suffering that leads us to practice. And for some of us, it doesn't take much. For other people, we have to really learn the hard way. That's me. And it's not because I'm better or worse than other people. It's just that's who I am. There's a prayer, and I couldn't find it exactly, but it says something about praying for just enough suffering to open my heart. So that's, and I think everybody who's here has had just enough suffering, maybe a little more than necessary to actually get our attention. And so Connolly rephrases the line and he says, us humans worry about things. And maybe I would say, we're all in this boat together. And I remember, this made me recall a 12-step program that a friend of mine he used to point out, a friend of mine used to say that being smart was not necessarily helpful for recovery. You can be too smart for your own good. And you think you know everything because you can quote sutras and philosophies. And in fact, being able to do that is a kind of like can be a kind of avoidance of actually facing your own pain, which is what's necessary. It is necessary to turn towards your own pain. So sharp or dull, we're all welcome in the great vehicle. So, and I thought I missed the point of so the middling and lowly can't help wondering, will this hut perish or not? So here he is, contemplating the great matter of life and death. And he's old. He's sort of, he's got weeds, things in his body aren't working so anymore. And now he's facing death. Will I actually die? Will my hut fall down and be destroyed? And to become trained as a volunteer in hospice. And then when I was ordained, I became a volunteer chaplain in a hospice for 8 years. And I became trained in as a what's it called, end of life practitioner by the Metta Institute, which is a meditation based training in death awareness. And I also constructed a curriculum in death awareness, which I've offered several times to a group and also to individuals. So I've really tried to study death, but you know what? I have not a clue about it. I can't contemplate my own extinction. I can't understand. My mind can't go there. And so that's one of the main reasons that we that we turn towards the mind in meditation and watch it and let it go. So we'll be able to let go when the time comes. So we will have maybe one little ounce of readiness to watch ourselves as we are extinguished.